guys, John Faulkner here, and today I am joined by Charlie Hogwood. Charlie is a dear friend of mine. We love getting together just because we make each other laugh. But Charlie is, I would say, one of the guys that I lean to every single time we start talking about groups, management, anything like that. So, a lot of people start talking about, building a community, building a group. And so what we wanted to do today was have a live that Charlie's going to do for about an hour or so. And what we're going to do is this is actually going to be a longer, probably 2 or 3 hour project that we're going to put together. But today we're going to do a short 1 hour live just to kind of give you guys a sense of what it's going to be about. Charlie is also the author of 2 fantastic books that I think are mandatory reads if you're a serious prepper. The first one is the Survival Group Handbook. This was your first book, second book?
That's the first one. The first version of that was called Mags. We just did an edit and updated and changed the title. And
so you can get that on Amazon. Make sure you check it out. Fantastic read, the Survival Group Handbook. And the second one, this is your latest book.
Yep.
The Prepper Survival Retreats. And this is just all about, give them like a 2-second spiel.
This is all about how to take your family and move them somewhere else in case you wanted to go somewhere for a long-term retreat or retirement, how to select the property in the area.
So, it's a question that's commonly asked. That's why we have Charlie here today. Fantastic guy with a ton of information. So today we're going to be talking about
survival groups, how to plan, organize, and lead your people for a short or a long-term survival situation.
So there you go. So guys, if you have any comments, feel free to leave them below as Charlie's going. And we're going to do a separate video, and we'll attach it here in a couple of days answering those questions. So it'll just be a quick Q&A. But if you have any questions, feel free to leave them below. And without further ado, Charlie Hogwood, folks.
We're off. Thanks, John. All right, hello, everybody. What we're going to talk about today is going to be about survival groups. We're going to talk about how to plan, lead, and organize your group. And it doesn't have to be just a survival group. This is your family, your local community. It could be your church. This is all about getting people to work together for a common goal of survival. So let's get started a little bit about this. And where did this all come from? Why are we talking about survival in groups? Well, this is not a new situation. This is something that our grandparents, great-grandparents did every day. My grandmother said that they wouldn't have survived back in the Great Depression if they wouldn't have had a garden. They weren't thinking survival groups. They were just doing their everyday living. And we lost a lot of that along the way. So what we're going to talk about is how to get some of that back, some of that thought process back. And so what causes us to feel the need to do that today in this world of convenience? The economy, inflation, war, terrorism, pandemics, severe natural disasters, social stratification even. So we're going to go into this a little bit deeper. And when I put this presentation together, I drew on different social sciences, psychiatry, team dynamics, military planning. And that's how the book, the Survival Group Handbook, came about. And we kind of put it all together. I interviewed a lot of groups around the country. We consult a lot of groups around the country and help them to move forward on their survival plans. So moving forward on that, what exactly is a survival group or a MAG? A MAG is a mutual assistance group, a term that I borrowed from my emergency management background that just means that we pledge to work together in times of disaster, or even if somebody has a flat tire and you need to call a friend to go help the wife with the car, something along those lines. It does not have to be apocalyptic and doomsday. This is about surviving everyday disruptions. So keep that in mind. So how can a survival group really help me? Well, safety in numbers is critical. We know that we can work out a lot better if we have somebody to assist us. And the big part of it is we have to remember that we've got to sleep sometime. We can't stay awake 24 hours a day. There's going to be a lot of things that have to get done. And if I fall asleep, I'm going to be the most vulnerable at that point, regardless of what the conditions are. So you'll also need some help in case you become incapacitated. So if I'm out working really hard, trying to get through whatever my survival conditions are, and I fall out or I injure myself, if there is nobody there to assist me, it's going to be like a really bad movie that you've seen on Netflix somewhere. So we would like somebody to be able to assist us, watch our back, cover us, and just be there for that general social company as well in a longer term situation. But there's also going to be chores. Yes, even when you're in a survival situation, there's going to be chores. A lot of chores. There's also what is not a MAG. What is not a mutual assistance group? Well, we're not a group of marauders out to steal other people's stuff. That's not what we're talking about here. We're not a criminal gang. We're not a survival group that you've seen on some of these TV shows that just want to go out and cause trouble, not store any of our own materials and just go out and take other people's stuff. And we're definitely not a drinking team with a shooting problem. So we're moving on from that. We're going to be a little bit more advanced in this. So when you get to this point and you start seeing this online later on, there's going to be a slide that's called "How Was Your Day, Darling?" And it has pretty much a Christmas tree shape of tasks that have to be done. Security, hygiene, childcare, firewood, food collection and preservation, eating, sleeping, training. And security is going to be first and security is going to be last. And the reason that you have to treat security with such a high level of care is that if you cannot protect your stuff, you're only holding it long enough for somebody else to come along who wants it more and take it from you. So you've got to apply your security, your situational awareness, your defensive plans, all of that to protect all of this other stuff that you're putting these efforts in. Now, while I was studying groups and writing this book, I ran across this strange independence problem that we were having. Survivalists, people that are prepper-minded, generally don't like to be told what to do. They want to protect themselves. They want to protect their family. They don't want to give up some of their personal sovereignty to somebody else. So why should I join a group and let some of that go to another person who's going to tell me how to do something? So I created this term called the independence conflict. We want to be in charge of ourselves. We want to take care of our family and make our own decisions, but we also realize the benefit of working together, the safety in numbers, the assistance that comes along with the survival group. So we've got to figure out how to overcome that. And we will through going forward on these slides. There's some questions that you've got to ask yourself before you even think about joining a survival group or trying to organize some sort of a survival team. First thing you have to do is know yourself, and you got to know your family. You got to ask yourself these questions, and these will all be in the slides where you'll be able to write them down, stop, pause, and think about these. And I want you to genuinely reflect on what you come up with on these questions. Do I work well with others under austere conditions? So if it's hot and sweaty out and miserable, are you the person who has a short temper? Do you have that personality where you don't get along with other people very well? Are you going to throw the shovel down and storm off somewhere and everybody else is going to say, well, I don't know what happened there? That unpredictable kind of behavior, or even if it is predictable, that's not helpful either. That's going to be a problem for everybody else around you. They're going to be afraid to participate and communicate with you and work together. You have to ask yourself, will I participate in building the group before something happens that the group needs to come together to solve the problem? So you've got to participate before. And a lot of groups that I consult with around the country, they have a couple of major problems, and participation is one of them. And a lot of times we'll have veterans that are older veterans or older people who say, I know all that stuff, I've done all that stuff. Just call me when the balloon goes up and I'll come. But the problem is now they have not participated with the group. The rest of the group doesn't really know them. They don't understand how to work with them and how to communicate. That becomes a problem later on. You also need to know about your family. Is everybody in my family, everybody that I'm responsible for, everybody that would show up to the group with me in the time of disaster, are they all on board? If you've got a spouse who's like, yeah, I don't want to know anything about that, you go do your survival thing, and that's fine. Yes, honey. If that's the situation you're in, that's going to be a problem for the other people if you ever had to bring your family into the rest of the group. If you bring that person in who's already started off, nose up in the air and I don't want anything to do with this, that's going to create some conflict in the team, and that's going to be a lot of problems. So don't take that drama to somebody else's house or in your house and invite other people over if you know that's going to happen. Get the kids on board, get mama on board, get your husband on board, whatever it is that you need to do so everybody's cooperating and wants to be there. Now, the other thing is, in my sphere of influence, my family or my group, who would I not want to spend time with in a stressful situation? We all know how Thanksgiving dinners can be, and it turns into all this drama, and the brother-in-law shows up with his girlfriend, and it becomes a thing. If you don't want those people to come to your survival group, don't tell them about your survival group in the first place, or it's going to be like a bad case of Christmas at the Griswolds. We just don't need that kind of situation going on. So mind your operational security, your OPSEC. Don't tell them, and hopefully they won't show up.